Hello everyone, this question says, here is the graph of y equals f of x. On the grid, draw the graph of y equals f of minus f of x. Now, what minus f of x is, it's a reflection in the x-axis. And when I was first learning this, the thing that really helped me is if you imagine, if you take every single y value and you put a minus in front of it, it's going to end up down there. If you do the same for that one, it'll go there, and so on and so on. This one, if you put a minus in front, would go up there. So basically, it has the effect of reflecting it in the x-axis. So that line there that I'm tracing over now is our minus f of x graph. Okay, good. Next question. Here's a sketch of y equals sine x. The point P is a turning point on the graph. The graph of y equals sine x is translated to give the graph of y is equal to sine of x add 80 add 180 add 4. Following the translation, the point P shown on the graph moves to a point R. Find the coordinates of R, 3 marks. So we've got two graph transformations. The first is of the type f of x add a. Now this type of transformation is a translation by vector. It's going to be, let's just have a think, it's going to be minus a 0. So this type of graph transformation moves the graph to the left or right, and it goes like in the opposite direction to what you would imagine. So if we've got add 180, then it means that this coordinate is going to move 180 degrees to the left. Well, first of all, then let's see where is the coordinate of that point before it actually moves. So our point P over here is that is 180 degrees. This is 270 degrees. That is 1 and that is minus 1. So this coordinate is 270 degrees and minus 1 is where it is currently. Okay. So it's going to basically move to the left. So we're going to do 270 minus 180. It's going to go to 90 to the, it's going to end up over here at 90 like that. So the whole graph is going to essentially have kind of like moved to the left by 180 degrees. So the point, the image of P, if I call it P dashed, is going to end up there at 90 and at minus 1. Okay, so that's when it's had the first transformation. So this is when we've just got sine of x add 180. So sine of x add 180 just moves the whole graph to the left by 180 degrees. So the point P will move to 90 minus 1. That's the first transformation. Now there's another transformation which is add 4. Now when you've got a graph transformation that's of the type f of x add a, that is also a translation. But this time it's by vector 0a, which just basically means it moves up or down by a. Okay, so this means that if we're going to now have add 4, this whole graph is going to move up by 4. So that one that is now at minus 1, if I add 1, it will go to 0, add 2, add 3. It will end up, the whole graph will have moved up by 4, like that. So this coordinate here now is going to be at 90 and it's going to be at 3 because it's going to be minus 1, add 4, is going to take it to 3. So the image of P, I'll call it f double dash just to show that it's moved twice, is 90 and 3. 90 degrees and 3 is where that ends up. So 90 degrees and 3. Yeah, quite a tricky question, that one. Tricky graph transformation question. Okay, let's see what's next. Right, next one, question 22. Okay, so it says, here is a velocity time graph for an aeroplane. Work out an estimate for the distance travelled by the plane in the first 30 seconds using 3 equal strips. So the first 30 seconds, well, that's quite nice, isn't it? So the first 30 seconds should be quite nice to work out. So remember that the area underneath a velocity time graph gives us distance. Okay, so area gives us distance. So it goes to the origin here. So we're going to have a I would recommend we have a triangle there up to 10. And then we're going to have a rectangle here up to 20. Not a rectangle, a trapezium, I'm sorry, and another trapezium here up to 30, and we're not worried about the last little bit there. So let's see, what does the graph go across? When we're at 10, the graph is going across here at, looks like that's going to be 40, that's going to be 50, 54. So I'd say that that height is 54. Over here at 20, it looks like we're at a height of 60, 72 for 76. That height there. And then the last one, when we're at 30, it looks like we're at a height of 70, 82. 92, sorry, 92. Okay, there we go. So what we've got to do now is we've just got to work out the area of this first triangle. So that's going to be a half times the base times the height, which is going to be half times 10 times 54, which is 540 divided by 2, which is 270 for that bit. 270. Then we've got to work out this one. Now this is a trapezium, so it's going to be a half times 54 add 76, and times by the distance between them is 10. So this is the area of this one. So let's work that out. So that is 54 add 76 divided by 2, and then times that by 10 gives us 650 for that one. And then finally, the last one, last trapezium, is going to be 76 add 92. We're going to halve that and times that by 10 to get the distance between those two. So 76 add 92 equals that, divided by 2 equals that, times by 10 is equal to 840. Is equal to 840. So therefore the total distance moved by the plane is going to be 840 meters. 840 add 650 add 270, all of which is 1,760. So add those up, that one, add that one is 1,760 meters. Yeah, meters is the answer. Okay, so we just basically divided it up into 3 strips and found the area of each of those strips. Okay, I hope you found that helpful. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.